All right, let's get right into it. Forever, making a really good video has been this massive project, right? But what if you could create something incredible just by typing out a few words? Today, we're going to look at how AI is completely flipping the script on video creation, turning a super complex process into your next creative co-pilot. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. You type out a script and poof, a professional video pops out with voiceovers, music, the whole 9 yards. This isn't some far-off sci-fi dream anymore. It's what's happening right now, thanks to these new AI tools. And we've all felt this pain, haven't we? If you're a marketer, a teacher, or really just anyone with a story you want to tell, the barriers to entry were always sky high. You needed the right gear, the technical know-how, and just so much time for scripting, shooting, and especially editing. It was a huge wall to climb. But that wall is finally starting to crumble. And, the first signs of this revolution, they didn't look like polished Hollywood movies. They were honestly pretty weird. To really get a feel for this technology, you've got to look at its first kind of wild public experiments. See, before we got to anything resembling cinema quality stuff, we got these totally bizarre commercials that just took over the internet. So first up, we have Exhibit A, a fake pizza place that became a viral sensation. Not because of its pizza, but because of its absolutely insane AI-generated commercial. People seriously could not decide if this thing was brilliant or just a total nightmare. The visuals were unsettling, let's just say that. But here's the crazy part. Even with all the creepy visuals, the script was actually good, the voiceover was on point, and that tagline, unforgettable. It was this perfect mix of horrifying and hilarious that showed everyone the raw potential, and maybe more importantly, it introduced the whole idea of AI video to millions of people. And then there was this one, a beer commercial that followed a pretty similar playbook to go viral, but this time it was all about that classic American backyard barbecue vibe. Yep, Synthetic Summer. This was another one of those fascinating experiments where a production agency made the entire ad just by feeding text prompts into an AI. And yeah, the people looked kinda off, but it proved you could generate a whole mood, a whole scene, just from a description. It wasn't just a party trick, it was a real artistic exploration of what was becoming possible. Okay, so we've seen the weird viral stuff, but now you're probably thinking, all right, if I want to try this myself, what actually makes a tool good? How do you separate the real deal from the gimmicks? Let's break down the key features you gotta look for. It really just boils down to 4 main things. First, if you can't figure out how to use it, it's useless, so a simple interface is an absolute must. Then, you need smart AI editing features to do the boring stuff for you. You also gotta have customization options to make it look like your brand, and of course, if you work with a team, you need good collaboration tools. Let's zero in on this AI-powered editing for a sec, because it's huge. Picture this. You just recorded a presentation, and it's full of ums and ahs and long, awkward pauses. Instead of you spending hours trimming all that out, the AI just does it with one click. This feature alone can take your editing time from a whole afternoon down to a few minutes. It's an absolute game changer. All right, so the market for these tools is just exploding right now, and it can feel a little chaotic. To help make sense of it all, we can basically sort them into a few main buckets based on what they're best at. So, you've pretty much got 4 main flavors. First are the text-to-video generators, like Synthesia, where you just feed it a script and it creates a video for you. Then you have content repurposers, like Pictory, which are awesome for turning things like blog posts into videos. If you're recording yourself, AI editors like Loom will clean it all up and add that professional shine. And then, for the really ambitious creators, you've got advanced suites like Runway that let you play with cinema-grade effects. But here's the thing, and this is really the most important takeaway. This isn't just about some cool new apps that make our jobs a little easier. What we're actually watching is a massive fundamental shift in how creativity itself works, and it is happening so fast. So if those weird viral ads were the opening act, then late 2023 was when the headliner walked on stage and blew everyone away. This was the moment the technology took such a giant leap forward that it caught pretty much everybody by surprise. Suddenly, we went from cursed and uncanny pizza ads to full 60-second clips that looked like they belonged in a movie. For the very first time, the physics of it all, the way things moved and bounced and interacted, it all just felt real. The gap between what you could imagine and what you could create, it practically vanished. And the public reaction? It was absolutely explosive. The app for OpenAI's Sora 2 model got 1 million downloads in less than 5 days. Now, to put that into perspective, that's an even faster start than the original ChatGPT had. This wasn't some niche tech nerd thing anymore. This went mainstream overnight. And look, when a creative explosion of that size happens, it doesn't just stay in the art world. It sends these massive shockwaves through the entire global economy, and it completely rewrites the rules of the game. Take a look at this number. That is the amount of value that the chip-making giant NVIDIA lost in a single day. And why? Because a competitor figured out a way to train AI that was 70% cheaper. It was this huge signal that the race for AI isn't just about who has the most raw power anymore. Now it's a race for efficiency. And for you, the creator, that means these tools are only going to get better, cheaper, and easier to use way faster than anyone thought possible. So, with all this crazy change happening, how can you actually start using these tools in your own work, like right now? Let's bring this all back down to earth with some practical, no-nonsense advice. All right, here are a few key tips. First, know what you're trying to make before you even pick a tool. Second, keep it short and punchy. That's what people want to watch these days. Always go for high-quality visuals, and don't forget to tell your viewers what you want them to do next. That's your call to action. And probably the most important tip, start small. Don't try to change your entire process overnight. Just start weaving these tools in, one little step at a time. And that really gets us to the heart of the matter. The whole debate about if AI is going to change creative work, that's over. It's here. The only real question left is a much more personal one. Now that you have these incredibly powerful new tools, what stories are you going to tell?